West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast. West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. I'm back from Ireland. I got home about midday, maybe like 11:30 midday. And fam, I've been tired because the original plan when I got back from Ireland was, right, I'm going to get home, put everything down, hold a quick fresh, put some new clothes on, go to Chelmsford and watch West Indies women versus England women. But fam, I couldn't move. Fam, my body was saying, allow me, just go bed and rest yourself. The plane that I had to catch in Ireland was, I think it left Ireland, it left Dublin at 8 o'clock. So I had to leave my hotel by like 5:30 or something. I was in the trenches this morning. The things we do for West Indies cricket, yeah. But we're back now. We're back. And what's next on the agenda is the England ODI series. If there's any West Indies women watching this, don't worry, I see you. Queen Hayley, I saw your 71 on the TV. You were doing bits. And the rest of the youngsters who played, because obviously they rested quite a few today. Karishma was rested. Stefani, obviously, Shemaine, Cherry Ann. So the youngsters who came in today, more power to you. This is a learning curve. You'll be better players for it. So I see you. I'm sorry I couldn't be there today, but I will be at a women's game before you go home. I just need to work out my logistics. Watching West Indies is expensive, traveling up and down and all around. Next on the agenda is Thursday. Santoki and myself will be in Birmingham for the first ODI against England at Edgbaston. So anyone who's going to be there, shout me in the comments below. We link up. Big up all the CCP community who linked up on the Sunday in Dublin for the victory. There were loads of you there, all fans, followers, friends, supporters of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. It was so good to see so many people. I did an interview with Darren Sammy, so look out for that, people. That should be dropping on the channel, if not later tonight, certainly, I hope by tomorrow maybe. So look out for that. Did a little something with Darren Sammy, so that should be dropping on the channel as well. So we're moving, people. Caribbean Cricket Podcast, can't stop, won't stop. We are moving. So this episode isn't to review the series per se. It's more to just do a player ratings review of the series. That's the quickest way to review the series, because in looking at each player, you kind of get a sense of how the series went as a whole. What I will just say, though, before I kind of delve into each player one by one, is yes, I would have wanted West Indies to win the series 2-1, 3-0. And I think if it hadn't rained on Friday, I think we would have won that game as well, to be fair. The scoreboard pressure of 3-5-1, was it, or 3-5-2 that we put up, I think would have been too much for Ireland to chase, just like the scoreboard pressure of 384, I think it was, we made in yesterday's game, was too much for Ireland to chase. So we're never going to chase that. So when you extrapolate it and you look at the series as a whole, West Indies played bad in one innings. Really and truly, if you look at it. First game, we restricted Ireland to 300, just over 300. That was a good total to restrict Ireland to. And we weren't even fully at the races with the ball. But if you can cast your mind back to that first ODI, and if you can remember it, most of us who are watching it, certainly in the Discord, were going, this is a 350 pitch minimum. So when we restricted Ireland to 300, I was like, yeah, we should win this. And then obviously we were abysmal with the bat. The performance with the bat, in hindsight, in the first match was the only down bad performance of the series. Second ODI, we did what we were supposed to do with the bat before the rain came in. Third ODI, we did again what we were supposed to do with the bat, even exceeding probably expectations off the back of Casey's knock to really pose a serious score, right? That would have put any team in world cricket under the pump. And then with the ball, we just blew Ireland away, right? So when you extrapolate it and you look at the 5 innings, the 5 innings that were possible in these 3 ODIs, West Indies, for me, won 4 of them. We won. Oh, hold on. No, am I being right here? Yeah, we won 4 of them. The 300 was actually acceptable to restrict Ireland to in the first game. The 350 we posted in the second game was more than acceptable. The 384.5 or whatever it was we posted in the third game was above exceptional. And then we blew him out for 160 odd. Like, so we actually won. And I'm not saying this with like, because some people are like, oh, Mash, you're just trying to rewrite history. No, I genuinely was thinking that whilst watching the game when I was at the ground on the Sunday. It's like, well, we actually, when you extrapolate it, we did well in 4 out of 5 innings. It was just that one performance with the bat in the first ODI that made it look like we don't know what we're doing. But for me, I certainly left Clontarf on Sunday thinking, I get the wider mission behind this ODI side, and I have been getting it for the last year or so, irrespective of what we believe about individual performances and when they let us down and what is obvious to me with this ODI side, and I was feeling this last year, and when I spoke to Sammy after the game, I was asking him about this stuff. Every single player, I dare someone to disagree with me in the comments, it is obvious to me that every player in this team knows the role they are supposed to fulfill. Whether they can execute it, that's another question. That's another debate. But I certainly understand the plan behind this West Indies ODI side. I get what everyone's role is within this West Indies ODI side. And when everyone's got a clear plan, when everyone's got a clear role, and everyone who comes into the team knows what they're being asked to execute in terms of their role in international cricket, you can at least get behind it, because you're like, whether we play well or not, I get what we're trying to do. So I have to say that. That has to be on record. That has to be respected. And kudos to Sammy and Abanesh, Floyd Reefer. Ravi was there for this tour. Kevin O'Brien was helping behind the scenes. Kudos to Sammy and his backroom staff, because I think they are. People say, well, after a 1-1 draw against Ireland, but I do see the signs of them moving in the right direction. Obviously, England will be a far tougher test, and maybe we have to sit down and talk again after the England series is over. But I did see some signs. But anyways, without any further ado, let's jump into the player rating. So Brandon King, the opener. So Brandon played all 3 matches, scored a total of scored a total of 28 runs with an average of 9, 0 out of 10. Now Brandon's my guy. Obviously, fellow Jamaican. If I try to do Jamaican bias for a second, like, Brandon is my guy. Brandon is a classy touch player. Brandon King don't need me to tell him that weren't good enough. He also underperformed versus, no, sorry, that's a lie, sorry. He performed, versus England at the back end of 2024. Scored a century against them. And he did okay against Bangladesh at the back end of 2024. So I'm not about to cook Brandon King. I know there are quite a few people saying, oh, I don't know about Brandon King opening the innings for the West Indies. I get it. I get why there's question marks. But we have to be careful here, because are we going to say, because Brandon failed 3 times against Ireland, dash him out the team, he's not good enough, when you go back for his last 2 series before Ireland and he did his job? Average 46 versus England in 3 ODIs, average 35 in 3 ODIs versus Bangladesh, failed versus Ireland. So I'm not about to paint a narrative. I get the narrative, and I get the questioning, and I get some of the question marks people have about Brandon fishing outside his off stump, planting his front foot, etc. I get all that, and I get that he's got to be doing better than averaging 29. But I'm not about to write him off after this Ireland series. Let's see how he does against England. But for this Ireland series, 0 out of 10. He also dropped a catch, I think, in that game in Clontarf as well. So 0 out of 10 in this particular series. But I get why there's scrutiny on Brandon. Only Brandon can stop that scrutiny. Evan Lewis played all 3 matches, scored a total of 36 runs, high score of 20, average 12. 0 out of 10 for Evan Lewis as well. The openers simply did not do their job. They didn't get us off. And then none of the games did they get us off to a flyer, really and truly. I think as an opener in ODI cricket, you have 2 jobs for me. 1, get the team off to a flyer. 2, try and still be there after the power play to truly set a foundation. They didn't achieve none of that. So 0 for Evan as well. But Evan is under even less scrutiny than Brandon King for me, because there's nobody in the region, left-handed wise, that can do what Evan Lewis can do. So there may come a time where people want to scrutinize Evan Lewis, but that time ain't nowhere near for me. Evan is still on the. Remember, he only came back last year after a massive hiatus from international cricket. So Evan is Evan, right? When it comes off, we know it's coming off big. and you take the rough with the smooth where Evan Lewis is concerned. So bit scratchy on this tour, hence why I've given him 0 out of 10. But there ain't no real question marks to me when it comes to Evan Lewis. But again, both him and Brandon, there will be scrutiny of them across this England series. I expect both of them to play in the England series across all 3 matches, by the way, because John Campbell's flown home now. He's going to play in those unofficial test matches against South Africa A to get ready for the Australia test series. And Shimron Hetmeyer is supposed to be flying in to England. Obviously, Hetty's not an opener unless they've got some kind of plan to try him there. Hetty's not an opener. So you would assume that King and Lewis will get the full England series to try and get themselves back into nick. Casey Carty, number 3, player of the series, man of the match yesterday, player of the series in general, 278 runs across the 3 matches. I think it was a 6, 102. What did he get in the first? Was it 102? 102 in the second one, and then 170 off 140 something balls in the third one. Knocked out the cameraman as well. Listen, I've seen Casey Carty play an innings like that, not 170 wise, but an innings like that where it explodes at the back end, maybe twice now, in terms of big proper like statement innings. Obviously, the 120 odd he got against England at the back end of last year. Was that in Antigua? And then the he hit 80 something off, was it 50 something balls for TKR in CPL? I don't know if it was last year's CPL or the CPL before that. So Carty's got this in his locker. And what I loved about this 170, so 10 out of 10 by the way for Carty. What I loved about this Carty innings, particularly the 171, was, and even the 102, is how well paced it was. And again, it goes back to my point about roles. I think that Carty, and Darren can correct me, and in fact, no, Darren said something to me. I don't want to give away what we spoke about in the interview, but I'll say this little piece. Darren said to me in the interview that when you study Carty's numbers since he got put in at number 3 after the World Cup qualifiers in 2023, he scored something like 1,500 plus runs at a strike rate of 90 plus at number 3. Now, if any of you can remember Carty before Sammy put him at number 3, the big question mark and criticism everyone had about Casey was, boy, I don't know if we can have a man going at a strike rate of 65 or low 70s when he's getting and he's batting number 4 and the strike rate's too slow. But if you actually extrapolate the numbers since being moved to number 3, he's doing what a proper, I don't want to use the word world class because that feels a bit glib, but what a proper good top quality international number 3 is supposed to do. Pace your innings, explode at the back end, and set the. So basically, what Shea Hope is, what we think Shea Hope does, which is set the foundation, keep things ticking over, try and go as deep as possible, then explode at the back end, set it up for the finishers at the back end. Kudos to Casey Carty. The guy's a real ODI. Listen, the man's averaging 49. Remember how highly we rate Shea Hope, and Shea averages 50. Casey's averaging 49 after how many matches has Casey played now? I want to say it's 30 odd. Let me just find my numbers for Casey, people. Bear with me. Casey's now played 34 ODIs. This is no fluke, people. 34 ODIs. He averages 49 with 300s and 550s. This ain't no fluke thing from Casey Carty. This is a guy who now knows his game, has been trusted, wasn't dropped by Sammy, was told by Sammy, you're the number 3, and he has rewarded that faith tenfold. Big up Casey Carty. Number 4, Shea Hope. Shea Hope scored 126 runs in the series at an average of 42 with 150, which was the 75 runner ball, 75 in the third game. That was classic Shea Hope, just doing what he does, ticking things over in the middle overs, making sure that we lay a foundation. Didn't go on to get into triple figures, which is a bit of a shock because when Shea plays an innings like he did yesterday, you just assume man's going to make a century. Got out, hold out in the end. The shot was on, he just hold out. He might say there was a slight little flaw in the execution of it, but the shot was on. And Shea just did what Shea did, you know. In the rest of the innings, trying to remember what else he got in those other 2 at bats. Let me just find my numbers for Shea Hope. In the other 2 at bats, Shea got 2. So 2 in the first match. That's when he got bowled by that in-swinger. 49 in the rained off one, and then 75 in the third one. So for Shea, averages 42 in the series. He's a captain. I didn't mind his captaincy. 7.5 out of 10. The only reason I say 7.5, maybe I should give 8, but I think Shea would have said to himself, boy, once I score 75 in an international game, I'm supposed to kick on for a century. I think Shea holds himself to that standard. Who's number 5? Django, 35 runs in the series at an average of 12. Yeah, ding, strike rate only 60 as well, which was of more concern for me. Didn't get going, Django. Didn't get going. You know when he scored that century against Bangladesh? Let me go find that century. Let me find Django's century against Bangladesh. Where did he bat in that century against Bangladesh? I don't think it was at number 5, but I want to just... Where did he bat? Oh, he did, 1, 2, 3, 4. He actually batted at 6. So my point actually isn't even valid. He batted at 6 when he made that debut century. Django looked scratchy in this series. He looked scratchy. He looked like he was, and I certainly felt this at Clontarf. No, and the games more so that I watched on TV. To me, it came across like he was overthinking his game. And as much as I speak about the roles that players have to fulfill, Django's role at number 5 was the only performance and role in the series where I got a tiny bit confused, in so much as obviously we're used to Shafane Rutherford being there. And obviously Shafane Rutherford in 2024 had a stellar year, was named in the ICC ODI Team of the Year. So you kind of see Django come in for Rutherford because obviously Rutherford's in the IPL, and his role just bits and pieces of it. I just didn't really get it. I didn't really get it. But then it didn't really matter because everyone else around him was performing. So it didn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Hetmeyer now comes to England for the ODI series. So part of me wonders, does Hetmeyer now replace Django? Anyways, the rating, Django, I mean, I gave Evan Lewis none out of 10 for averaging 12, right? So how can I give Django anything? How can I give Django anything more? None out of 10 as well, which is obviously harsh, but that's how it go. Graves came in at 6. So Graves is being used as an all-rounder in the side. Was privy to some conversations with some people, and they said that's how they now see Graves. They don't see Graves as an opener. They may have to at some point if Brandon King or Evan Lewis, if they feel like they can't cultivate a good enough partnership, then maybe they might reassess things. But what I've been told is that Graves is now seen as a late order all-rounder, expected to bowl and expected to come in and counterattack at number 6. He scored the second most runs in the series, high score of 50, scored 50 off 23 balls in the final ODI. Also scored a really good counter-attacking 33 off 18, was it, in the first ODI, and then the second 35, sorry, and then the second ODI he scored 44 not out. So that's clearly a new reimagined role for Justin Graves, where they have him in the team, and like I say, they obviously expect him to contribute with the ball as well. And in this series, he took 1 wicket only. He bowled 12 overs, took 1 wicket. At an economy of 5.16. The economy is the most important thing there. He was the second most economical bowler across the series for the West Indies. Bowled the 3rd most overs in the series, for 4th most overs in the series, and was the second most economical bowler after Jaden Seals. So they clearly are expecting Graves to probably bowl 3 to 4 overs in any one match. So they're clearly redefining Justin's role in the team. So when grading him, you have to grade him in the context of an all-rounder position as well. That doesn't mean he's supposed to take wickets. I don't mind a number 6 all-rounder bowling on average 3 or 4 overs a match and being quite economical with it if it's some kind of bonus makeup overs to balance out the side. But with the bat, he did his job. Let's give him an 8 out of 10, because I think every innings he played showed some evidence of power hitting, counter-attacking form of cricket that maybe we didn't know he was capable of, certainly that low down the order. I'll give him an 8 out of 10 for that. Roston Chase in at number 7. So with the ball, Chase bowled 8 overs, across the 2 matches that he bowled. Obviously, he took 2 wickets, 22 apiece, economy 5.37. So doing what Chase does with the ball, takes some important wickets, is quite cheap with it, bowls some defensive tight overs, which again you kind of need to get through your allocation of 50, because you can usually expect in a West Indies allocation of 50 that someone's going to get clarted. Because our bowling, there are still question marks about elements of our bowling. So players like a Chase and a Graves play an important role in terms of filling up some overs and being able to. Chase and Graves are basically in this series, were effectively your 5th bowler. Between them, they make up your 5th bowler. Doesn't mean that both of them bowl 5, but it does mean that you have 2 bowlers who can make up your allocation of 10 as and when. So that's the role you have to kind of see Chase in. With the bat, Chase scored 86 runs, 1 not out, high score of 55, which I think was in the first one, average of 43. So again, all-round job by the new West Indies Test captain. I'll give that one. So 2 wickets at 22, 86 runs at 43. I have to give Chase an 8 out of 10. Doing his job. Question marks about if he should be at number 7. I think there are legitimate question marks about that going forward. Is that the best spot for Chase in this team? But time will tell. But certainly that's where they've got him now. I'm giving him an should I give him? Yeah, I'm giving him an 8 out of 10 because he fulfilled his all-round role. Matthew Ford. Obviously, he hit that fantastic 58, set a world record, didn't he? Or equaled the world record, 58 of 16 balls, or whatever it was, coming in at number 8. So he got a test match. He got an ODI 50, showcasing before the series started. I said that this series represented a real possibility for Matthew Ford to show that he is in competition with, or possibly might even supplant, a Romario Shepherd. Now, on paper, Romario Shepherd is the better batter than Matthew Ford. On paper, some would argue Romario Shepherd is the better white ball bowler than Matthew Ford. I think that's open to massive debate. But Ford is clearly now in clear competition with Romario Shepherd. And that's good. I think Shepherd needs to be under competition, to not because he doesn't deserve a place in this ODI side, but sometimes you need to heat up a man and let them know that your place can't be taken for granted. So Matthew rightly showed some form with the bat that puts him into that number 8 permanent consideration. With the ball, he took 3 wickets at 35 apiece, economy 6.23. Other than Shamar Joseph, quite expensive. They've obviously got Matthew bowling up front. He bowled the most overs, 17 overs. They've got Matthew bowling up front, up top. I think obviously because Matthew's of the players in the team, Matthew's the best. If there's swing about and prodigious sea movement, Matthew's probably the one who can best exploit it of the bowlers that we've got. So I get why they're bowling him in the power play. I said to someone, can't remember who, at the game on Sunday, sometimes I feel that Matthew's got too many variations and that he might actually need to simplify his game. If they're going to bowl him in that slot, and when they bring him back later on in the middle overs, I sometimes feel like if he's going to go for the variations, maybe that comes later on in the innings. But I just feel like in a weird way, Matthew needs to simplify his game to succeed in the ODI format. Obviously, he's a young man. He's developing his craft. This is by no means a criticism, but he got a bit of tap in that power play. And it's likely that England will try and attack him as well in the upcoming ODIs. So I wonder how Darren will approach this against England. Will he still go with Jaden and Matthew to open the innings, or do you bring Alzari Joseph back in against England to lead off from the top? I like the fact that they've held Alzari back because I think he's been quite effective in that way. But some question marks about it. So Ford, obviously, depends what you see his role as. I see his role primarily as a bowler, with the runs being a massive bonus. We'll give him 6 out of 10. Only because I primarily see him as a bowler. So I can't, as much as the 58 was fantastic, brilliant hits, brilliant knock, I can't let the batting outweigh the bowling because he's not in the team primarily for the batting. unless, of course, he is. Unless he's been seen as you are a genuine all-round, in which case I might need to reassess the rating that I've given him there. Who's 9? Multi. So Multi took no wickets in the series. He was economical, went at 5.35, bowled 14 overs, no wickets. And I mean, obviously Multi's in the team to bowl wickets, to get wickets, sorry. Should we be concerned? No wickets in 14 overs? Or do you look at the economy of 5.35 and go, well, no one was ever really able to put him under the pump, so it's all right. 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10, maybe even 5, because he took no wickets, but he was economical in the context of a high-scoring series. 6. I'm going to give him 6. I'm going to give him 6 because of the economy rather than the... Oh, no, 5. No, because he took no wickets. I'm going to give him 5. Number 10. Who's number 10? Who am I missing? Alzari Joseph. So Alzari Joseph took 3 wickets at 29. Economy 5.5. Yeah, didn't mind Alzari. Thought Alzari did well in this series. Nothing against Alzari. 3 at 29. Don't really need to talk about with the bat. I don't even know if he faced... He faced 4 balls. We can ignore that. 3 wickets at 29. I thought he fulfilled the role they expected of him. 7 out of 10 for Alzari Joseph. He's still our best white ball bowler. I didn't see anything on this series to make me think otherwise. 7 out of 10 for Alzari Joseph. Jaden Seals bowled 5.5 overs in the series, was ill in the first game. He took 3 wickets, which all came in the final game. Obviously, because he was ill in the first game, didn't bowl in the second one. So took 3 for 26 in 5.5 overs. Economy 4.45. That's all he could do. Like, that was the only match he bowled in, right? 9 out of 10 for Jaden Seals. He basically, obviously, Casey Carty's 170, fantastic. But anybody who kind of had any hope of Ireland chasing that total, it was extinguished by Jaden's opening spell. Just ripped the game away from Ireland immediately. 9 out of 10, if not 10, because it was the only thing he had to do in the series. And then lastly, Shamar Joseph, he played 1 game, the first game, bowled 7 overs, none for 51, and got tapped, went at 7.28, 0 out of 10. Shamar Joseph is still a work in progress in ODI cricket. I think that was only his 2nd ODI against. People forget, and I think sometimes people feel that Shamar has played more ODIs or more international cricket than he actually has. He's only played 2 ODIs, the second of which was that first ODI against Ireland, and he looked out of sorts. He looked like... Sometimes with Shamar, if it's not working for him, I think he just goes back to trusting his pace. And if it's a pitch where pace for the sake of pace isn't going to do anything, particularly if you can't play kind of blow, particularly if you can't like bowl that heavy ball, then all you're serving up really is buffet food. And that's what it felt like for Shamar in that first game. That's no criticism of his ability. I'm just saying that's how it felt in that first game. So I still think there's a lot for Shamar to work on in terms of adapting his bowling for the 50 over format. I trust Sammy and his backroom staff to be able to work with Shamar on that. But you can see why Shamar isn't first choice yet in ODI cricket. So that's my ratings, people. Let me know. That's went a bit longer than I expected it to. Let me know about your thoughts about the series. You can talk about the women's cricket as well, although I'm going to review that later on in the week as well. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you felt about this series and your player ratings and so on and so forth. Tomorrow, Santoki and I are at the Unity Cup. If you live in London, Santoki and I will be at the game between Jamaica and Trinidad, the Unity Cup at Brentford Football Club. If you're going to be at that, shout us. We don't just do cricket on the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. It's football as well. So come shout us. Reggae Boys versus, what does Trinidad call themselves? Is it Soca Warriors? So we'll be at that game. Shout us if you're about. And like I say, more content coming in the week. Look out for that Darren Sammy interview. And shout out to our sponsors as well, Parlay Pros. If you're somebody who likes to lay down a flutter, but you want actual data-driven trends and evidence to support what you want to lay that flutter on, Parlay Pros have linked up with CCP. Click on the link below in the description to find out more about them if you are so inclined. If you are somebody who wants to get involved in that, as we always say with anybody who gets involved in anything with laying down any kinds of bets, do it responsibly, but hit up Parlay Pros, official sponsors of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. Listen, I've been Machel St. Patrick here, one half the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. If you don't want to hit up Parlay Pros, but you do want to support the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, you can head to www.patreon.com/Carib Cricket. Every little bit helps and counts to keep us on the road. Ireland was hella expensive. Birmingham's going to be expensive. Following the West Indies is expensive. So if you can support the Caribbean Cricket Podcast in any which way, or PayPal, message us privately if you want to do PayPal, but www.patreon.com/Carib Cricket, and you can become a patron and support the movement. I'll be Machel St. Patrick here at one half the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. See you all very, very well. I was about to say soon, but I can't find a video. Where's that? Oh my gosh, I can't even. Here we go. See you all very, very soon.
West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast. West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.